Okay.
Hi guys, Andy had spoken label. Straight over to Krystal. She's going to do a couple of pieces for us from the new book. Over to you, my friend.
All right. This first one is called Black Girl, White Skin. Deep skin. I don't fit in. What race do I fall in? Because I am cream colored, I'm not like the others. Tired of people telling me who I can be. Why can't they see beyond the box the world put us in such a long time ago and see I have the heritage in me?
Brilliant start. I've forgotten how short that piece was actually to start off with there as well. So short, but definitely not sweet. back to you, Chuck, for your second one.
Okay, so my next piece will be, I just marked it. The Black woman's fear of her Black son. She sits on her patio on the morning of her son's death. Another day in poverty to stress. She tries to get through the day, nothing more, nothing less, trying to give her child the best. If this is the test she refuses to fail, her son was a friend to me. He was going to school to revolutionize the world, but somehow ended up at the end of a policeman's gun. He didn't even try to run, labeled a gang member. He surrendered. They shot him in the streets anyway. How people make a call. How can people, I'm sorry, can I start this one over?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. One more time.
Take 3.
This is a brand new, I've never said this one out loud, so okay, I see. The Black mother's fear of her Black son. She sits on her patio on the morning of her son's death. Another day in poverty to stress. She tries to get through the day, nothing more and nothing less, trying to give her children the best. If this is the test she refuses to fail, her son was a friend to me. He was going to school to revolutionize the world, but somehow he ended up at the end of a policeman's gun. He didn't even try to run, labeled a gang member. He surrendered. They shot him in the streets anyway. How can people make a call when the villains are sometimes the police? Some children might see them as heroes, but where I grew up, they killed our fathers. This was never part of the plan. Her son was about to graduate as a decent man.
Wow. Wow, that's really, really hard hitting, that one, because considering all the trouble you've had in America, obviously, well, it said with Black men unfortunately getting killed by the police. That's really, really powerful.
This one was about society, just kind of like what people go through. This happens a lot in society. They label somebody walking down the street or just assuming something, just stuff that goes on in the United States. So that was kind of like a reflection of that, like just that situation. It kind of brought it into a different theme.
Yeah, tremendous. Okay, did we agree on 4, didn't we? So, okay, over to you for number 3 then.
Okay, this one right here is called Quarantine. This one was more, I wrote this one like the first or second week of sitting in a quarantine. So this is that. It's called Quarantine. Trapped inside a quarantine, trying to stay safe from COVID-19. I cannot find an escape route. Hope remains to be seen. Superheroes fighting a pandemic disease, begging God for a release. Trapped inside a quarantine. Will the paramedic ever love me? He sees dead bodies constantly from a new disease that doesn't discriminate. The future remains unseen. My friend escaped from teaching in China that year, leaving her journals behind in fear. She feared catching COVID, crying out in tears, feeling trapped inside, wrapped in chains. Families cannot claim the dead remains. In this time of quarantine, people feel psychotic pain. When they let us out, will we ever be the same? 20 years of friendship broken in quarantine, together trapped in the same house. This is the story of 2020 pandemic and a lifetime effects. As I sit here with my thoughts, I think of the things I miss. I miss the wind of the cruise dancing like calypso hypnotic Caribbean islands and alcoholic drinks full of tonic. I cannot find an escape route. Superheroes die fighting a pandemic disease, all while trapped inside a quarantine, trying to stay safe from COVID-19.
Bravo, bravo. Powerful, powerful Gypsy indeed there. So really, really powerful piece to do that, because I think lockdown itself affected everybody up and down worldwide in different ways.
Exactly.
It's not an easy time for me, because I guess you think, because I'm diabetic, my job sent me home with it at the time, and I remember them telling me, go home, we'll get work to you, ring us up once a week to let us know you're not dead. And I thought, it took us 6 months to get that done to me, and me and the man were both going crazy at that time. And you'd been by yourself, wouldn't you? Yeah.
I was trapped in the house with it was like 4 of us trapped in a house. We're getting on each other's nerves. I was sitting there feeling insane, listening to different people's troubles and journeys, and I wrote it down in a poem. And that was actually the first poem I wrote in my master's program that year.
No, it does. It shows you it's a great way for us poets to really let rage. But I won't want to do it again. That's for sure of it. Anyway, Krystal. Okay, let's go for the big finale. I'm definitely into.
Okay, the last one. Let's see. Hopefully, I don't mess this one up at all, because this one is also one that I wrote during the pandemic and during my master's program, and I've never read this one out loud. So we'll see how it rolls off the paper. It's called The Story of Those Eyes. When I used to look at him, I wish my son had those old woman's eyes, those big, round, black diamond bug eyes. They were perfectly aligned on his face. I remember the first time he looked at me with those old woman's eyes. His sister had her father's eyes, shaped more like almonds, not like those eyes I fell in love with many winters ago. It wasn't the plan to fall in love with a man I've known my whole entire life. 3 years ago in December, it was those eyes that were easy to fall in love with, round as the full moon. There was a frost of white outer core with a bright promise of our future. A future broken by the following December. Our son is 1, and those round eyes don't exist in my life anymore. I belong to my son. After 4 winters of constant war, love, and hate, with my heart and my mind, thinking of all those moments, looking at those piercing round ebony eyes, I learned that those eyes only told lies, hidden, untold stories in disguise. The eyes I thought were my epic paradise turned into my mortal enemy. It was almost God's mercy that my wish of those woman eyes I once admired were not owned by my son. My eyes on him became my saving grace. My blind eyes of love now belong to him, the oval chestnut eyes of his mother, the eyes I never appreciated when I looked in the mirror. They are ones of power and preservation. I have not looked back ever since. When I used to look at him, I used to wish my son had those old woman's eyes, those big, round, black diamond bug eyes. They were perfectly aligned on his face. It is hard to look back now when love for those eyes no longer live in this space. It is just hazel colored eyes I see in the mirror that reflect on my son. Ones I used to take for granted. They are the only ones in my life now. And that's the story of those eyes.
Beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful the way you've used the reference the eyes, and that's great piece.
Yeah.
You put a lump to my throat there, Krystal, well, straight away as well. So it's obviously a job done definitely with that one. So excellent
Yeah.
stuff. So excellent as
Yeah.
indeed. Now, good luck with the book, and I look forward to hearing the album when it comes out, hopefully within the next year. And we'll get you on, and I'll ask you all the difficult questions about your choices and the music and stuff like that. So I'll get my producer head on, and I'll start putting really awkward, tricky questions for you when it's ready. So, but anyway, so thank you again, Krystal. Been a pleasure again. Okay,
No,
so
thank you for taking the time to let me read some of my poetry for my new book.
always love having you on. You're great fun. So keep in touch. I know you will, and I'll keep in touch with you.
For
So
sure.
anyway, guys and girls, that's it again for Spoken Label of another day. As Don Callis over at AEW Wrestling says, stay safe and stay over, and we will see you all hopefully next time.